179 per day. If you break this daily registration to local governments, you will have an average of only 16 registered voters per day in each local government. Therefore, because of this, intensified sensitization, education and publicity through paid and free radio, television, newspaper, social media, and community publicities, as well as the interventions of civil society and other community-based associations. As we speak, ENUGU State is not performing very well in terms of the registration. By the end of May, they are still within the last 3 out of these 36 states. But it is gladdening that from the first week of June 2022, the CVR points in ENUGU started recording huge turnout of fresh registrants and registered voters who came for PVC replacement, PU transfers, and update of their personal details. First of all, we commend the citizenry that finally woke up and expressed their trust in the system by showing their interest to vote. At one end, there is expression of trust after signing of the amended electoral law. And at another end, the conclusion of party primaries has given the voters hope that the seriousness with which these primaries were concluded will be transferred to the main election in 2023. But whatever the motivation is, the Commission is glad that people are expressing their effort in the system and are willing to come out and express their franchise. Therefore, the Commission will leave at nothing in ensuring that those that have submitted themselves to be registered will be captured before the end of the deadline. There is no need to panic. That some eligible voters will be excluded, not at all. INEC practices inclusivity. That is one of the reasons why new polling units were actually created before the CVR, to ensure that polling units, the voters have more access to the polling units and the low turnout during elections improve. I am therefore calling on the citizenry to always be abreast with the electoral law as well as INEC guidelines and policies while sustaining their interest in the electoral system. Since the new surge of registrants started, INEC has swiftly responded. In ENUGU, we have introduced additional 20 more registration points and over 50 voter status update points. We have also encouraged citizens that have registered before, who can do it on their own, to check their updates properly before presenting themselves to be registered, because you are aware that double registration is an offense. Today, we had over 71,426, but out of that number, when we did the first cleanup after the first 6 months, over 46% of those who registered were double registrants and thus invalid. That is almost 50% of this number that I've quoted. What does that leave us with? It leaves us with the impression that too many people are coming to register again, probably because they were unable to get their PVCs or have not come to ask for it. A lot of reports I got from the status update points show that most of them who come get their update, understand that they are still within the system, and they leave. And that has accounted to the reduction of the surge, which was in the first week of June, unbelievably high. We're encouraging citizens to, on their own, check. We have over 140-something thousand uncollected PVC, and most of them are still, we suspect, are still coming to present themselves again for registration. There is danger in double registration, because when you have the hope that your last point of registration is where you are going to go and you have not registered, chances are that that last point will be thrown out and your initial one retained. In that circumstance, we are expecting registrants to transfer to a new place or to apply for replacement of PVC or to update their data if they suspect that there is an error in the previous data they presented to the Commission. Why are we doing this? We are doing this to ensure that the voters register is very valid and credible, because credible voters register is a foundation for credible election anywhere in the world. Today, we have just 9 days to the deadline set by INEC for the stoppage of CVR, and which is 30th June 2022. We have been flooded with series of requests for extension of the exercise. We have forwarded those requests to the Commission, and I am optimistic that they are reviewing it appropriately. Meanwhile, in the remaining 9 days, we have set out strategies to ensure that eligible registrants who put themselves forward will be captured and registered accordingly. We are going to expand the update centers by more than 34 units and relocate registration machines from places of low turnout to areas of higher turnout. We have also, within the period, worked up till 7 p.m. against the closing time of 5 p.m. to ensure that we accommodate as much people as possible. We have also improved on publishing the CVR centers to avoid many registrants crowding out only one locations without knowing that there are too many registration points in a particular local government at the same time. Our strategies have worked mostly where registrants listen and carefully follow our instructions. Where they have not, the level of crowd disruption and noise pollution have contributed to slower down the process. Again, some volunteers for crowd control have eventually turned themselves into extortioners. We have notified security agencies who have remained more watchful. We are hopeful that if registrants maintain orderliness, without people smartly trying to register ahead of those that are on queue before them, we are promising that we can get everybody registered within that day. However, if there is need for extension, the Commission will evaluate and communicate the public appropriately. Therefore, there is no need to panic, and people should come out and be hopeful that we have the capacity to capture all of them. While I extend the Commission's gratitude to media for their generous sensitization and publicity of the CVR, we beckon on them to sustain the support till the end. I passionately thank also CSOs and encourage them to cross-check their publicity of registration centers with INEC so as to enable registration centers to have, registrants to have other options without crowding out a particular place. Because what we witnessed in Papada Square is over publicity of that particular center, and people believed it is the only center where we register as well as this center. By the time they got to know that there were so many registration points out there, and the fact that we were doing updates to check whether people are already in our database, the population went down. We are still experiencing such anyway, and we are handling them accordingly. So I thank all of you for coming. We will be grateful to know what you feel, particularly from your observations of what we've been doing, so that we can actually pick in the recommendations and your opinions and strengthen our capacity to conclude and deliver to Nigerian citizens. Thank you very much. God bless you.